Welcome back to the channel. This week on the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener, we have a look at who and what pollinates our plants. Plus we have a wee look at how to hand pollinate, just to give Mother Nature a little help. We do a quick checkout of what I got for Christmas for the garden, and while a wee bit late on Boxing Day, we check out my Christmas spuds and see how well I did in growing them this year. And we do the draw for the Christmas giveaway and announce the winner. Come potter with me in the garden. My name is Dawn and I am the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener. Good afternoon. Well, it is Saturday the 20th of December, so time's ticking over. We are almost 1 month into what I consider summer. Summer solstice is on the 22nd, 23rd sort of time. So shortest night / longest day. Good for some things, bad for others, but it is what it is in the gardening world. Now, what I thought we might look at today is about pollination, because I often see on the Facebook groups, etc., that I help moderate, admin, etc., people concerned about pollination. A lot of times you see, oh, there's no bees. And I think what we've got to think about here is some of the information that is put out there about how plants are pollinated, and a lot of it is around the concern for lack of bees. Now, the lack of bees is something that is really important, but in the global thing of gardening, pollination, that whole thing, bees are only one factor, an important factor, but one factor. So what I thought I'd do today is a couple of things. First, look at how our garden is pollinated and what needs pollinating, etc. But I also thought what I might do is just do a wee bit of a demo on manual pollinating, which I sometimes do, especially in my greenhouse, because it is in theory a closed environment, though 99% of the time my door is open, and as you can see, Mr. Bumble has just wandered in and he's been busy in here. I've been in here for a bit and he's been bumbling around, so I try and keep my greenhouse open so that I can get the pollinators in, and I'll often have things in here that will encourage the pollinators as well, though this year I'm a bit short on that, but I've got them just outside the door to the greenhouse, so it's at least increasing the encouragement for them to come this way. So pollination 101, the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener's version of it anyway, and I've done a wee bit of research and things like that, so it is based on fact. It's just not based on my own thoughts. Some of it is, but not all of it. It is based on facts. So you can look at pollination as being quite a magical thing that happens. Without it, we wouldn't be getting things like apples and plums and tomatoes and melons and cucumbers and courgettes and pumpkins and all that sort of thing. So it is important. I mean, we do eat plants without them actively being pollinated, so things like pumpkins and tomatoes and what have you are the fruits of plants, but we often eat plants that are pre-pollination, so things like spinach, silver beet, what else? Oh, just that sort of thing, you know, leafy type greens. Lettuce is the other one. However, we do need pollination at the other end of that, because if they're not pollinated, they won't seed, and we need the seeds to continue on. So pollination, even for them, at one point is important. But from a New Zealand point of view, pollination comes from a whole lot of characters, just not the bees. So yes, the bees are important, as are the bumblebees, other birds and the Other bugs like moths and things like the wind is important. So things like strawberries are wind pollinated. So there's many things that help towards getting your stuff pollinated. So first, the bees, the common honeybee. It's the most sort of pollinator and probably the most common pollinator. So if you can put things in your garden that will attract them, so things like open face flowers, so calendula, nasturtiums, things like that, to increase the bringing of the honeybee type thing. You also need to have hives and things around you and what have you, but because they don't travel that far. But it's good to, talk to your community about whether they are happy to have hives and things around. It's one of those things that not everyone is happy about it. A lot of people confuse anything that buzzes with a wasp, but not everything that buzzes is a wasp. So in New Zealand there are 4 species of bumblebees who all are very active and do lots and lots of work. Now there's 3 of those 4 have what they call a long tongue, which is the bit that helps with the pollination bit. So bumblebees are good for things that have got long, deep flowers, so like tomatoes, beans, that sort of thing. So yeah, bumblebees are great. Encourage them, don't chase them off, and try and make an environment that is conducive to having them. So they like the same thing as bees basically, so open face flowers, that sort of thing. So we also have in New Zealand our native bee. They usually are singular loner type bees and often nest in the ground. So you need to avoid using things that will harm them, like ground sprays or anything like for broadleaf, etc. Drone flies are another important one. They are often mistaken for bees, and they pollinate things like carrots and parsley and dill and things like that. They're the sort of things that they like to hang out with. Hoverflies, there's around about 10 species of them. The adults will go into the flowers for the pollen, so moving from flower to flower, they'll help cross-pollinate things like that. And the larvae will also eat things like aphids, so they're really handy to have around the garden. Green soldier flies, they are a summer thing, and they will help pollinate your flowers mainly. In spring, you've got things like the March flies, which will help pollinate your spring flowers. And it's important that they are pollinated just as much as a vegetable, fruit, or something like that, because they're the ones that, the flowers are the things that are going to bring or encourage the other pollinators in. So butterflies and moths are really important to help with the pollination, especially the moths, because the moths will, in the early morning hours, pre-dawn, as the sun's rising, and at dusk, they'll help pollinate certain flowers and veggies. And beetles and birds also help with things, especially around the native plants and flowers. Now, I briefly mentioned wind and strawberries. So yes, wind pollination is important for things like strawberries, but it's also things like your corn. So it's really important that you plant your corn not in long rows, like long single rows, that you plant them in patches so that when the wind blows, it can help with popping the pollen that's at the top of the plant down onto those long silky bits, which is the bits that then feed the corn kernel. And each silk is connected to a corn kernel, so you need quite a lot of it to actually get a full cob. And sometimes you'll hear of things called self-pollinators. I don't really know a lot about them, but there is a group of plants, fruit, things like that, that for some reason manage to self-pollinate, and I've not really understand that, but I'm sure that there is a reason or a method to it. So after all that, so what's the conclusion? Yep, bees are really important. They do steal the limelight, so to speak, as pollinators, but other pollinators are just as important, and it is important that we set our gardens up to be inviting and safe for as many pollinators as possible. So today, as I said, I'm going to look at how to help pollination. It's not always necessary, and it's just something I do in the greenhouse, as I said, because of potentially limited pollinators in here, though, as I previously said, I do encourage them. But things like my aubergine eggplants, I will sometimes give them a wee hand. My passion fruit, I will give a wee hand. And at the moment, I've got some cucumbers and melons that have got some flowers there that I'm going to give a wee hand to, because I really, really, really want those melons, and I would like some cucumbers as well. Got my cucumber here, and I've got my paintbrush, and it's just a little kiddie's art paintbrush type thing. It's not an expensive one. I use them for other things around the house and things like that, but this is my gardening one. Now, all I've done for this is I've literally just wet the brush itself, because it was really dry, and I want to be able to encourage the pollen to stick to it. So it's literally just been made damp, not wet. So that's it. Now I'm going to bring it in closer, and we're going to have a quick look at this cucumber, and I'll just check what kind it is. It's a telegraph cucumber. So we'll have a look at it. Okay, I've just rechecked the label. Actually, the one that I'm going to show you is a Market More. This is one of the pots I've been a bit naughty and stuck two things in. Right, now this is a fairly open flower, so it's not going to be overly hard for the pollinators to get in here. But yeah, I'm hoping. I noticed further down that there's flowers that have already finished flowering, but I don't think that they are going to produce anything, because I'm pretty sure they look like male flowers. So often your plant will put its male flowers out first before it starts putting its female flowers out. So let's have a wee look at these. So this one here, I think might be a female flower. And this one here is definitely a male flower. So not all plants have male and female flowers, so it doesn't really sort of matter. But, sorry, I can't see on the camera exactly what I'm doing, so I'm just going to do it. So I'm just going to dip my brush into my flower, if I can get him to, I can see what he's doing. Right at the base, there's actually some ants in there, so they might be doing some work for me. And I've got a wee bit of pollen on there. And then I'm just going to brush it on there. Sorry, I'm not sure how much you can see because of my hand there. Yeah. Right, so that's him done, but I might give him another tickle up. So, just to make sure I've actually... Now, Mr. Ant, do you mind moving ever so much so I can get in there and get some goodies? Thank you. I don't mind ants outside. I don't have a huge problem with them. I do object strongly to them being inside, though. Yeah, I've got a wee bit more pollen on that one. I don't know if you can see. Let me have a wee look. No, I'm not sure if you can see, but there's some little dots right on the end of the brush there, and that's the pollen. And I'm just going to pop that in on this one, because I'm pretty sure that looks like a female flower. And the difference between a female flower and a male flower is a male flower usually has a long stem, and a female flower will often have a short stem, or like with zucchini, you can often see the beginning of a zucchini on a female flower, where a male zucchini's just got the long stalk. So yeah, So that's good. That's probably the only one on there. I'll see what else I've got here. I've got a couple of melon flowers just further around, so we might have a look at them. Okay, so I just had a look at the melon, and unfortunately all the flowers are male. Now you can see how long that stem is. Sorry, I'm hand holding this, so it might be a wee bit shaky. Yeah, there's no female flowers on that, so that's a shame. So I'll see what else I've got around. Right, so I've had a look around and there's nothing that's got male and female flowers on it. Unfortunately, I left the greenhouse to show you. Even the passion fruit, the one flower that had already flowered, it's produced a fruit. I'm not sure if it'll have anything in it. It may just have produced the fruit. But that's okay. There's about half a dozen other flowers that hopefully in the next week or so will open and we might get some fruit from them. What happens with the passion fruit is that it will flower and it will produce the fruit itself, but when it's not being properly pollinated, there's no pulp inside. You just get the hollow shell. But yeah, at least we've done one cucumber. There's potentially a few cucumbers down the end that have been pollinated by bugs, which is good. None of my courgettes are ready enough yet to do as in opening up flowers or anything. My cucumbers are doing their thing, not the cucumbers, my pumpkins are doing their thing, but I'll let nature do them. I don't usually go in and interfere with them. So yeah, that's good, but I've got plenty to do in here, just tidying up and watering and what have you, because turn your back for 5 days and whew, it's growing all again, which is awesome at this time of year, but you just got to be onto it. I haven't been much out in the last few days because it's been raining. The garden is loving it, but yeah, it has been raining. So I'll leave it there for today and we'll catch up again soon. Good morning. Well, it is Friday the 26th, so it's Boxing Day. I hope your Christmas went well and that you got everything that you wanted. So hubby's out mowing the lawn. Hopefully it's not too noisy. I've tried to record in between him going past this end of the property at the far end. But anyway, yeah, I got I got one thing for gardening anyway. I had a really long list though, and some of them were way out of scope, but but try. But the one thing I did really want, and the family did get me, was a watering wand. I did have a watering wand years ago, but it finally gave up the ghost and I never got it replaced, and I've been using these for a number of years. This is a really old one. The handle's fairly munted. But yeah, find it really helpful, but I find they do leak a wee bit. Well, at least my ones do, and I've got a couple of new ones, but they still leak. So I end up with getting water running down my arm and onto my leg, and this time of year it's not a problem because it's warm. In the middle of winter, if I am watering it, and because Canterbury can be dry even over winter, you do sometimes need to water even if it's only once a week. Yeah, I find these great, but they do have their limits. So the biggest limit for me with my back and things like that, even sitting down, is getting down low to water because I don't want to water the plants. So like my tomatoes or something, I want to get down to the base. So that's where this will come in handy. So after a bit of research, this was the one I came up with. It's a hose lock one. Yeah. There were some other ones that looked really, really good, but they came from the US. But the biggest thing against them was that the connectors don't work for our click-in hose things that we have here. You had to buy an adapter, and while the actual wand bit, which was about 60 or 70 bucks, the adapter was another 60 or 70 bucks. So I thought that was a bit much. So I got this one. Plus it had everything I wanted basically. The only thing it really doesn't have is the fine mist spray, but it's got an easy trigger. It's got a lock for holding the hose thing. Sorry about the sound. We're due thunderstorms, so I was wanting to get this done. So yes, you can like use it like, get it go like that, but if you want to lock it on so you're not holding the trigger, there's that lock. This bit here is a volume, so you can turn it full on at the hose tap, but then you can control the volume of water that's coming out by using that. It only has 5 settings on the head, and out of them all, probably the shower and the straight hose thing will be the only ones I use. I'd use the hose one to fill up for things like when I'm doing seaweed feed. So when I do a seaweed feed, I have a 3 litre container, old milk bottle thing. I put the amount of seaweed stuff in there and then fill it up from the hose, and it saves me having to go back and forwards to keep filling up the container. Oh, hello, Louis. Louis's come to visit. Come on, you're going to come up and say hello to everyone? Come. No, he's not going to come and say hello to everyone. The other thing it's got that I quite like is it's got a movable head, so you know I can either do a straight on if I want a big arc, or if I want to get really close in, I can just bend it right down and just get in and around. So yeah, quite happy with that. So I've just used it for a wee while this morning. I'm going to use it a bit more. I've got some pops down here and I need to water the greenhouse. I was going to give the greenhouse a feed today with seaweed, but I think I'll leave it a couple of days. Not sure that the rest of the garden's going to get much of a water today. As I said, we're forecast, there goes Louis that way, we're forecast thunderstorms today, so I'm not quite sure if we will get the rain or not. Want the rain, but they are forecasting hail. Don't want the hail, but you know, not much you can do. You can cover up some of your sensitive plants, but at this time of year, most of them are fairly big, so there's not a lot you really can do to protect them other than throwing maybe some netting or something over them. It is what it is. But anyway, I'm going to continue watering, and later on we'll catch up and we'll look at some other stuff for this week. Well, it's still Boxing Day. It's the afternoon now. It's just coming up about 3, I think, and as you can see, the wind's got up. It's a nor'west and we're still waiting for the thunderstorms. They may or may not arrive, but in the meantime I'm going to do something I should have done a few days ago. I'm going to try and harvest my early spuds. I am not hopeful. Had really poor foliage growth. 1 or 2's just seem to have died. You know, the growth came up and really early died back way before it should have. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be a pitiful harvest, if anything. Now I had 2 different types of earlies, and the ones that haven't done well are the swifts. These are the ones just right here at the beginning of the side alley. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but it may be my own fault. I'm pretty sure it's my own fault. But that's because I think I let them over chit. I don't think there was anything substantial for the potato to grow from. The seed potato had sort of gone, yeah. They weren't soft or anything, and they weren't mushy. They were fairly withered though, so they didn't have really long shoots, so their chits hadn't sort of grown huge and broken off when I planted them. So other than the fact that they were a bit more shriveled than I would have liked to, I would have thought they did okay. The other thing it could be is that I have backed off on the watering significantly from last year, so maybe I just didn't get enough water. But interestingly enough, the other ones, I can't remember which ones they were now, I'll have to look at the label in a minute, while they haven't done as well as I would expect, they have done way better than what the swifts have. So we'll have a look at them and we'll see what I've got for harvest wise. Okay, so you're not going to be able to see me for this, but that's fine because it's the potato pot. But as you can see, that's what I've got. And you can just see that one and that one. So these were the very first ones I did, and then there was like a week between, and then the rest. The other ones I've just had a look at were Jersey Benny. So you can see like really stunted and poor growth. So disappointed with that. But we'll have a look and see what we can get, if anything. I'm not holding my breath, but we shall see what will happen. I haven't watered those pots for probably a week purposely because I planned to harvest the spuds, but they were actually still really damp, which is good because I thought I was underwatering them, so I may have the watering about right. I've definitely sort of like halved the watering I was doing last year, and it's been a lot warmer too, so we've had a couple of cold days. Yes, we've had some rain, but it's rain from the south, and this is sheltered from the south under the eaves, so it doesn't get rain wet unless it's an easterly coming through the other way. So might have that bit sorted. However, I will not call this a spectacular harvest by any push of the imagination. I had put in 6 seed spuds, and that's what I got. Probably double what I put in, because you can't really count the really tiddly ones. Yeah, and none of them are huge. Egg size is the biggest, so but that was the first 2 pots I did, and they definitely didn't do well. There's about another 3 pots that look similar. I won't dig them out today because I'm starting to cook. Concrete's really hot on my feet, and because I've stopped wearing jandals, I did try and start wearing the Crocs, but I started my feet felt like I was like Goofy's big feet, flappy feet. Couldn't wear them, so I am going to try and buy some proper sandals in the next week or so with the post-Christmas sale, so hopefully that'll help. But anyway, back to the spuds. Yeah, so that's good. Now the other thing down here that I wanted to show you, and it was sort of on the similar vein of not watering too much because of my kumara slips, and I had overwatered them and they had rotted out badly, and I planted, I think it was 6 in the end. 3 have taken. They're not spectacular yet, but they've got quite a big fence to jump because they were quite severely knocked back by the fact that the roots weren't doing so great. But we'll have a quick look at them in a minute and catch up with the what they're doing. The yams are doing all right, the self-seeded ones, but the ones I've planted have not come up, so I think they must have been past their use-by date, those tubers. I just left them too long, my own fault, but it is what it is. Anyway, we'll go and have a look at the kumara. Right, the kumara. You won't be able to see me because I can't get everything in, but you can see that they are doing way better. I mean, they had, 2 leaves each basically. This one had a few, I think it had 1 leaf. But as you can see over here, the others have just croaked it. So, which is a shame, but it is what it is. And lesson learned, I will do them from a kumara and cut slips off and what have you, like I did the very first time, and not try and winter them over here. It's just too hard to try and keep them alive inside over winter. It's just too cold here. But while these aren't very far along at the moment, they do have another, it's only Boxing Day. So we've got at least another 2.5 months of really good weather. I just need to make sure I don't overwater them. They're damp today. They're not wet, they're damp. I'll probably water them today, maybe tomorrow. Just depends on how much I'm cooking out here now. But yeah, so I'm really pleased with that. So I'm going to leave it there for now and catch up with you again for a coffee and a chat, and also to let you know who is the winner of the giveaway. So it's that time of week again. We catch up and have a drink, usually coffee, but today it's hot, so I've gone for the juice thing again. Right, we're going to do the draw now, and I've enlisted a family member, well, his arm and hand at least. So I'm going to pop the bowl close to the camera, and he's going to reach over and pull one name out of the bowl. Okay. So thank you, family member, for doing that. And the person that has won the draw for the $50 voucher from Mitre 10, bought by me for you, is Kim Toka. Congratulations, and I will put my page email for you down in the description and in under here, and if you can email me your contact details so that I can send you the gift voucher, that'll be awesome. So what do we get up to this week? Well, it's been a bit of a crazy week. I mean, Christmas is right in the middle, and you know what it's like getting ready for Christmas. We've had some really hot weather, and I've been feeling a bit under par. So combination of that has meant that things haven't quite gone the way I wanted this week, but you know, it is what it is. So we did a quick look at pollination, who and what and when, well, more who and what does the pollination, and the fact that it's just not the old honeybee, who is very important, but there are many, many other ways that things get pollinated as well. I also did a wee brief demonstration of how I assist with pollination, especially in the greenhouse. Don't have too many problems with it outside though. Sometimes I will give the old courgette or the pumpkins a bit of a tickle up, but not usually. But definitely in the greenhouse, I find with the cucumbers and things like that, I do help them. Tomatoes don't seem to need it, but I just like to help with the cucumbers, the eggplants, the passion fruit and that sort of thing, just to ensure that I actually get something. So that was a good wee demonstration. Unfortunately, there was just the one male-female plant that bits in the plant that I could do it with. If you want more, let me know. And the greenhouse has actually exploded even more since I did that. So we can do it again if you'd like more of that. We had a quick peek at my Christmas present, which was a watering wand, which has come in very handy, especially for the greenhouse because I've jammed so much in it. It means that I can reach the back row of the plants that I've got in there without actually having to move everything or trying to lean in and bend over. Even by using the chair, it's a bit hard on the back. So, yep, really pleased with that. I hope you got what you wanted for Christmas as far as the gardening is concerned, or just for anything, but you know, it's always nice getting those gardening Christmas presents. And then we looked at the spuds. Now, I had planned to have them for Christmas Day. A couple of things got in the way and I didn't, so I ended up having just to have some bought spuds. But I did unearth the first 2 pots on Boxing Day. And as you can see, we didn't exactly get a huge haul. I wasn't expecting huge crop because they are new spuds and you don't get massive with new spuds. But I basically got 2 for every spud I put in. Now, I am actually happy with the way the watering was going. I was a bit concerned initially when I was starting to look at how badly that they had grown. But when I started digging down and what have you, the pots are actually heaps, well moist. They didn't need to be any moister, and I hadn't watered for about a week, so I was really pleased with that. So I think I've got the watering right, and I'm pretty sure that they didn't do so well because I just let them over chit. So yep, I'll learn for next year. I haven't undone the other pots yet. I'll have a look and I'll let you know how they go. And as I said and showed you, the kumara are doing well, but the yams that I put in myself haven't really done anything. But the self-sown ones are ticking along quite nicely. So we're getting there. Now that Christmas is over, I'll start thinking about doing some of the autumn sowing, getting seeds in for that. So my leek seeds will be going in the next few days. Yes, I know it sounds incredibly early, but by the time they get to the point that I'd like to plant them, it's early March. So they do take a while to get to that point. I'll sow them in a flat tray to start with. Once I get a good strike, I'll then prick them out into 6 cells and I'll multi-sow them 3 to a cell. And then once I'm happy that they're a good size and my onions and things are clear, I will then pop them into the beds. One of the reasons I do the whole flat tray 6 cell thing, what have you, is my onions are, well, my beds in general are full-ish. I do have a few gaps, but that's because I'm succession sowing peas and beans and things like that, and slowly getting in my carrots and parsnips for autumn and winter. So yeah, it's just a matter of finding the bed space for them later on. Well, it's hot out here. I've got my cold drink, but we're meant to be getting thunderstorms again today. We didn't get them yesterday, even though they did say we were going to get them. But anyway, from about 3 till 9, they reckon we're getting them today. So we will see, because it would be nice if Mother Nature watered my garden for me, to be honest. It's way better anyway, but yeah, I just, as I said, haven't been feeling the best this week. So Mother Nature helping out would be quite nice. So I hope you're having a relaxing and safe time for the Christmas break. I know not everyone is off. Having worked shift work for many, many years, I know that there's loads of people that will have worked Christmas Day, Boxing Day, they'll be working New Year's and what have you across. But if you are working, do try and take some time out to give yourself a break. Right, I'll leave it there, and I wish you all the best for the coming new year. And for now, it's bye from me.